everyone, my name is Sally and I'm the CEO of Silent Games. Today we're going to be showing you our new game Empyreal. So we're going to show you some content from the start of the game, but also some end game sets as well. So yeah, this is our creative director, Joseph.
Just by way of introduction to the game itself, Empyreal is a third-person action RPG about transcendental revelation. So that's kind of where the name comes from, Empyreal relating to the high heavens. So the story in our game does touch on the supernatural, but it's also like a true RPG. So it's full of systems and mechanics and features, and that's what we want to show today, just show some at the beginning of the game, but then we'll kind of teleport to an end game where you can see some more of the builds that players can make.
Yeah, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, so this is our character creation. So there is an opening cutscene to the game which gives a bit more context to the story, but that's a bit spoilery, so we'll left that out for now. We've just jumped straight into making our character. Axel, you did a lot of the design for this character creator.
I did. I've gone over the top with all of the makeup options. But yeah, there's a lot of good options. I think there's a lot of variety here. You can just make someone that looks really cool. Some of the presets are really good as well. So
I can just flick through those.
Yeah, you can start off with a character that looks good to begin with. So my favourite is preset 1. So yeah, we have lots and lots of different options.
Because you're here, I immediately switched to the girls, but you can play as male or female. So
yeah, let's play as a man for today.
Oh really? That's
yeah, because I always play as a woman, so let's switch it up a little bit.
Got this guy. This is actually, I made this guy as a
preset.
Preset 4 is the best preset. Let's just play as him.
No, his makeup's too OTT for me.
Wait, I can change that.
Tone that down a bit.
Okay, but that's the whole point of having that makeup. Which one is it? Blush.
No.
What?
Why would his eyes be blush?
Wait, what is it? Eyeshadow. Wait.
Yeah, of course it's eyeshadow.
Boom. No, that just looks.
Not that one. Just put note on him.
No.
Yeah, look, he looks cool now.
No, I felt if we're going to make him look normal, he doesn't need the red eyes. But
okay.
No, some of our team, they've even the character creator here. You're just selecting options. You can probably see that. So. It's somewhat straightforward, but you can create quite some unusual combinations and do a lot of things. We have our environment artist. He was trying to create recognizable characters, so I think he managed to make Geralt was one of them.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. So. Yeah.
You can change characters' complexion, scars, all this kind of stuff as well. So, yeah, he's looking pretty cool. Let's
I thought it was better before, but that's fine.
You've been strong-armed into him looking like that now.
So this is our character background. So there's some presets here that you begin the game with. You come with a full set of equipment and you've got a weapon equipped. Probably we'll talk a lot more about this, but Imperial combat kind of revolves around 3 weapon archetypes. So you've got the mace and shield, then you've got the cannon, and then you've got a glaive as well. So when you start your background, that's not a selection you're locked into. So that'll change when you pick up equipment, and that includes the weapon and the playstyle and everything. But you can see probably at the bottom right, there's a little bit of flavour to begin the game with.
Mm-hmm. Let's switch to the bottom so you can just see the choices, the names of the choices there.
Oh, sure,
so
yeah.
you can see that. Just put us
fancy
there.
Transition.
my star transition.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got different kind of evocative names and a little bit of a backstory type of thing as well.
I think this one most encapsulates my...
Are you a morose rogue?
I'm morose rogue. Well, the description of this says, it doesn't mean you enjoy solitude, you're just generally miserable most of the time.
Oh, no, that's sad. I always play as the one that's not on here, so if you choose woman, you're an alluring coquette.
That's this one here, because there's a male and female,
variant.
We can play as this guy. He's a handsome devil, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right.
Yeah.
No, I'm a glaive girly, so I prefer the glaive. But
should we play the glaive then?
Yeah.
Well, this guy's got.
But we're going to show all the weapons later anyway.
Well, we can play this guy. He's a wayfaring stranger. He's got a cool outfit.
No, Morose Rogue.
Morose Rogue, yeah.
Yeah, I like his outfit.
The only other thing that kind of has an effect on gameplay from the background you choose is when you're playing through the game and you're talking to NPCs, occasionally you'll get the opportunity to respond with a dialogue option that is fitting your background. And even though it may not seem intuitive at the time, you should pretty much always pick that, because the characters, it builds trust with them, and trust has various effects. And even if the option may sound a bit odd, if you're true to yourself, then i.e. your dialogue sort of reflects who you are, even if you're being rude, for example, being true to yourself it helps you build trust with your NPCs.
Mm-hmm. So
the last thing you do when finalising your character is you get each background comes with an ability to start with. So you can unlock all the abilities in the game eventually, but again, this is just to begin with. But then we give the option of choosing an ability. So I think I know what Sally's going to want me to pick.
Spike is my favourite. Spike is my favourite ability. It's my favourite ability in the game, actually, and it's a starting ability. So there is a lot of powerful abilities, and there's a lot that you can craft later on. But I still have Spike even all the way to the end game. Doesn't really make sense. I just love it. It looks very dramatic. So we'll show you how that works shortly. But yeah, that's pretty much all the choices you can make in Character Creator. So let us begin.
Well, just picking up on what you said about Spike being a starting ability, all of our abilities kind of do stay relevant throughout the whole game, because as your general power level increases, they will get stronger. But we'll talk more about this much later. But in the game, we have a feature called sets, and sets provide a modification to an existing ability. So even if you have used an ability from the beginning of the game, later on in the game, you might find that it works very differently if you unlock it with a set, and then that's going to increase its power level.
Yeah, that's true.
A bit more.
That's true.
Actually, we should talk about where we are.
Yeah. So we call this the hub.
Yeah.
So this is the area that you'll be managing all of your gear and the NPCs, and we should tell people a little bit about how you start the game and the story.
Yeah, so something about Empyreal I think is worth highlighting, because it's something that different people can have different feelings about, is that this is not the sort of game that holds your hand. So, we don't have like a compass or a little golden trail on the ground or anything like that. The hub is not that big, so you can wander around and you can meet the different NPCs and talk to them. Our initial sort of goal up there in the top left is to find someone in charge. So we'll have to find someone to talk to who can give us some direction. But when the game begins, you're essentially here to join an expedition, and you're the relief. So they've run into a lot of difficulties in trying to explore the Monolith, which you probably saw in the key art at the beginning of the stream, and they've kind of ground to a halt. So you're here to try and help them out. But they were expecting a lot more people, so a lot of them actually greet you with a bit of suspicion and I guess what's the word, like they're not that excited.
They're not super friendly, which I like, because a lot of games like this you play and then everyone's like, "Oh, the hero has arrived! Hooray!" Yeah. You're not going to get that from these guys. So yeah, they can be a little. We
could give an example of that right now, because this is the guy we need to talk to. I could talk to a few more people.
Let's talk to the lizard.
Talk to the lizard. That's not the.
Talk to the lizard.
Don't say it, because we have a little sound effect for him.
Okay, right. Let's be quiet. Listen to him.
There he is.
He's so cute.
And then he scratches his tummy.
I love him.
Yeah. There's not. It may not be clear at the beginning of the game who this guy is, but later on that will be revealed.
Later on, it will be.
This stall actually belongs to somebody mysterious, and when you can meet them later.
Yeah. We'll talk to Edmund, even though he's a bit mean, and then we can talk to John the blacksmith to cheer ourselves up a bit.
John's a bit more friendly. Actually,
friendly.
We should go in here first, because this is the guy who's actually in charge of the expedition.
He's having the time of his life down there. He's just chilling.
Turns out that he's not really found at his post at the moment, judging by the empty bottles littering his desk. Yeah. So we'll have to find someone else to talk to, and his right-hand man is...
talk to Edmund and then talk to John to cheer ourselves up after this.
So let's talk to Edmund.
Ah, there you are. I had heard the report that we were to expect a new arrival.
He's also really tall, which is even more intimidating. So
that's because he's an absolute unit. He's a legendary warrior. That is revealed a bit more as we play the game. Because
why don't we discard the pleasantries?
As you can see, when you first encounter him, he's not very polite.
If you play as a woman, you're even shorter, so it's even worse. The height difference is even worse.
Are you always this tiresome?
Yeah. So then you can say, you're here on behalf of one of the company's higher ups. And you're here to help them. The company hasn't forgotten you.
They have a funny way of showing their concern, but you can bother Morris with the details.
Should we talk a bit about the dialogue options and what they do? I think that'd be useful once we finish this.
If you'd gotten here earlier, you might have caught him sober.
Yeah, I just wanted this little joke to play out. So it's actually 10 a.m. It's already alcohol. But yeah, no. In the game, all of the NPCs, we've only just encountered one or two so far, but they all have quest lines that you can follow, and I'll show actually a little bit about that in a moment.
Past the blacksmith between the pillars. What's the matter? Need me to hold your hand?
It gets a bit zesty there.
He does.
I don't suppose we shall meet again.
So Edmund thinks that you're going to go into the Monolith and you're basically going to die straight away. We'll prove him wrong, and eventually he will learn to begrudgingly respect us. But yeah, the dialogue choices. A lot of the dialogue choices are flavour, but but many of them do take the conversation in different directions. There is a lot of dialogue in the game. All of our characters are fully voiced. They all have personal quest lines. All the quest lines have multiple endings as well. So every time you could finish a quest line and you won't have seen everything there is to see in it. And your dialogue choices and sometimes your choices in the game will determine which quest outcome you get for each character. So I think when we come back, we'll talk to a few more people. But for now, you
Talk
wanted
to
to
John.
Yeah, I was going to say we can get into the action, but we'll talk to John.
So the reason I like John is because he's based on the way my dad talks. So he's a Yorkshire man.
He's very Yorkshire.
He's very Yorkshire. So I am also Yorkshire.
How do you say that then?
I'll do.
I'll do.
Pick the Yorkshire one, fair to middling. Fair to middling. I'm about another northerner. Love that.
Good to meet you. This is the workshop. I'm the smithy, John Kent.
Actually, if we picked a different background, if we picked the background called Charming Prankster, we'd have got an extra dialogue option there, because when you get the hang about another northerner, you can respond by saying you were just pulling his leg because you're a prankster, but you're and that would have actually built trust with him because again you're being true to your character.
What's that supposed to mean?
We do have some dialogues unique to the morose rogue later. I'm sure it will come up.
No, don't be mean to him. Say it's lovely.
It's
lovely.
You won't find a better forge in all the known worlds. I'll be happy to offer you my services when the commander's given go-ahead.
So we're right at the beginning of the game, so we don't actually get to access the shop right now. But if we can prove ourselves by getting through the first level of the ziggurat, or the monolith as we call it goes by many names, then characters will be a bit more willing to talk to us. Just one thing I wanted to mention very briefly from that dialogue there, he mentioned that his forge is the best in all the known worlds. So the known worlds is a concept in our universe. This is a sci-fi game, there's sort of other planets and other civilizations. But a lot of that is conveyed sort of subtly through dialogue rather than sort of heavy-handed, and you'll kind of pick that up as you play through the game.
Wait for a dramatic effect on this one.
A bigger world out there. I was just going to stop there. It's fine. No, there is. Shall we do the full run? There's a dramatic effect.
There's a dramatic. Let's be silent. Silent games.
Silent games.
That never gets old, you know.
It never gets old.
I've done it 1,000 times.
Our sound designer spent a long time on this, and a lot of the sounds are very subtle. But you know, we cut out the music, the ambient sounds kind of go, and there's like a little hum. I think he did a really good job on it.
Yeah, I feel like when you're running through this bridge, you're just contemplating what you're going to be facing.
Contemplating your existence as
Yeah.
you enter the
As you
maw.
enter
We call
the-
this the maw.
Yeah.
Because it swallows you whole.
That's a good word for it.
It just lot looms over you. Yeah, the goal with this was to create something that just felt so strange and so unusual. Some of the inspirations being megalithic architecture in the real world. When you look at some of the structures that they have in South America or Egypt, and the truth is we still really don't know exactly how they built those things, and so they can feel a bit strange and unsettling. So that was some of the sort of this inspiration behind creating this just massive. It's from a lost ancient civilization, so we really know very little about this civilization, and a lot of the game is uncovering what they managed to achieve and what their ideals were. But right at the start of the game, you're just sort of confronted with this massive, inscrutable object. I've got this little guy.
Yeah, the first encounter with what's within. He's very scary at first, but he's just a grunt.
He's just a grunt. Yeah,
He's just a little grunt. We call
That's
him.
a developer name.
Yeah.
I think they all have. Yeah. So in the game, most of the enemies you'll be fighting will be these sort of automaton type enemies. So the ancient civilization is ancient. So it's very very old. So there's not many people left. But the automatons that they built to protect them from various things, which is part of that is revealed through the story as well, they still remain, so you can fight them. I obviously I know where I'm going, so I'm going to show a few little hidden details. It's a few little extra bits and pieces that you can pick up.
It's probably worth saying the game is still in development, so if we encounter a couple of bugs, nobody saw that.
Nobody saw me skip over the ledge there.
We saw you skip over the little ledge.
No. That would be a default to my death, so I'm not going to go that way.
No, that's not the way.
But in the game, yes, we have chests that you interact with. You can get useful items out of those, and we also have something called gathering spots. And gathering spots typically give you treasures, which you can sell for money. I should actually not pick them up straight away. Next time I'll show it. Actually, there's a chest over there. But also the treasures that you pick up do have other uses as well. You can craft new abilities. Some of them are involved in quest lines, things like that. So exploring and looking around, making sure that you've found everything in your surroundings can help. And you get so this is a consumable, and then this is an item that will actually allow us to modify our gear. That's not super important at the early game, but again, it's a lot of features, very RPG heavy. So there's things you can do like crafting and things like that. More of these guys. He's blocking.
He's blocking you. He's having none of it, pal. Deflected him.
I missed that one.
Spike him.
I will spike them. A lot of our abilities have different effects depending on whether or not you press them or hold them. So that was me holding the spike button, and it gave you a little camera cut. If I wanted to do just a quick run, I could do that as well. That was stunning an enemy, and then being able to form a follow-up on them. You can see a lot of the time I'm deflecting. Something I haven't showed yet is the glaive is very good at maneuverability. So if I'm far away, I can actually get some distance and teleport. And this is just a basic ability that the glaive has.
I think the glaive is probably out of the 3 weapons the easiest to pick up, so when people are playing the game for the first time, I recommend that, although Mace and Shield is pretty good for that as well.
Yeah, the weapons, they sort of perform different roles in combat. As I said, the glaive can be very maneuverable, so I'm going to target this guy because I know he's a healer. I can just jump straight to him and get rid of him before...
He's troublesome if you don't get rid of him first, so those are things that you learn as a player throughout the game. You'll learn all of the visual language and the right order to attack him. Got you. We also have consumables in the game as well, so there's multiple different consumables with various effects. So used a healing one there, which is pretty standard, but then there's things like grenades, and there's just many other consumables.
Actually got some loot. It's our first loot, level 8 service jacket. So we follow the people would probably generally be familiar with the rarity sort of colour gradient. So that was a lowest possible level, it was a white one, but we're right at the beginning of the game, so probably can't expect too much good stuff. One thing I actually wanted to show is the quest log that we have in the game. So as you can see here, Morris is in a drunken stupor. That was the guy we encountered on his desk, and Edmund Rain seems totally uninterested. But right from the beginning of the game, you have this quest log, which does provide you a little bit of guidance. Again, it's not heavy-handed. We don't hold anyone's hand. You will have to really explore the game to figure out the quest lines. But each NPC does have their own entry in the quest log because they all have a quest associated with them. And just the little icon you see there is just to indicate that we have an entry in the quest log which we haven't read yet, which we haven't talked to most of these people yet. So
maybe now's the time to have a chat.
Who should we talk to next?
We
talked to Hanwin.
Yeah, talk to Hanwin.
Hanwin's interesting.
I really like
Actually,
the Hanwin's voice. The VO for that is really good.
So Hanwin is actually not from the expedition. That's why it says there the Crown has sent an auditor. So Hanwin is from the sort of the main, you could say, superpower in the universe. They're called the Eternal Kingdom, which is from a planet called Auden. And so Hanwin Dryden has been sent here to figure out what this expedition has found, because there's currently a lot of tension between the Crown and the company, which is what the expedition is part of. And that's one of the reasons the expedition has been sort of abandoned, even though they feel like they've discovered something really significant. You can see the monolith there. They haven't really been sent the resources to complete their mission. So we can talk to this guy and see what he's doing here.
I see the rumours were true. That the relief effort so desperately hoped for was finally on its way. That would be...
That is indeed us. That's why we're here, ostensibly.
Just us.
Hanwin Dryden. I represent the King's interest here. A glorified accountant for the most part. In any case, as a more recent arrival myself, I don't think I will be of as much use to you as your fellow company employees. Have you spoken to Mr. Lavelle or Commander Rain yet?
We tried to speak to Mr. Lavelle, but...
Well, I could say that.
Yes, they were equally useless, yes.
It's a bit rude. He's just trying to help.
A shame.
So Hammond is actually one of the most interesting characters in the game, because he does start out a bit uncertain what his role in is and all things. But he does have his own quest line. He has his own reasons for being here. He's very, very interested in what's been found in the Monolith as well. And you can help him out, or you can choose not to if you decide that what he's asking you to do is too unsavory. But now that we've completed our first level, that was just a very short level. We call that the tutorial level, and basically playing through that level, it unlocks you some tutorials about how to use the different weapons. If it had a different weapon, that would have been unlocked here. So there is a bit of help like that in the game, which taught how to use consumables, how to use abilities, and things like that. So these all got unlocked by playing that first level.
I'll be damned. I might have to remember your name now.
So starting to get
I bet you're
a little
eager
bit
to
of
recount
potential
all
respect
the
here,
tales of your
although
glorious
still rather sarcastic.
I don't think so.
Well, we could
Sass him
just
back.
play along.
Hope you're sitting comfortably.
Yeah. Is that really the best equipment the mercenary
Rude.
corps is offering these days? So it would seem. At the very least, you could arm yourself with a full set of abilities. John can assist you with that. Take this and pay
Yay,
him
we'll
a
go back to
visit.
John,
Yeah, we will go to yeah.
my best
Once you're
friend.
a little more
Mr. John.
prepared, speak
One thing
to
that's
Dr.
interesting about
Thornton
Edmund
for
is
your
that,
next
and this
assignment.
will be quite apparent quite early in the game, is that even though he's quite standoffish with you, he does actually give you assistance. So he just gave us some money there. He gave us enough money to be able to craft ourselves some new abilities, which we can do with John now. So just to speak, obviously I don't want to just only talk about the beginning of the game here, but I could show what crafting abilities looks like, and then that will illustrate kind of all the possibilities that are present in the game.
That's the best line. I love that so much.
You're alive!
You're alive.
Seems you made of sterner
We are made of stone stuff, actually. Yeah, it's true.
So yes, you can get more abilities
Got
there.
standard company ordnance and cooked up a few ideas of my own and all. The more exotic ones will need extra materials though. Have a look.
So in the workshop, we actually have quite a number of options. So when you find new equipment, it will initially be unidentified, but John can help you identify it. So I'm just going to do that and see if it's better than what I have. I can press to compare with equipped. It's got a bit more weapon power, a bit more shields. Some of the other stats it reduces, but overall I would say it's better. So we're going to equip that. And then we have this menu. So this is a preview.
Put us on the bottom just so you can see what we're
Oh, sorry, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
just a sec. We'll switcheroo.
There we
You
go.
can
So you can see the
better
names
now
of the
what's going
abilities here.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the little icons kind of tell you which weapon they're for. So some abilities can only be used with a specific weapon. So this one says a quick strike with the glaive's pommel. So it can only be used with the glaive. Whereas this one, you blast out elemental energy from your shield. So it's only used with a mason shield. And then this one can only be used with a cannon. You sort of fire the stasis chamber out of the cannon. And as you can see, there is a lot. Some of them, as John said, need some more exotic abilities. More exotic materials. So you will need to get a high level weapon of your own, and it will be used in the crafting process, plus a treasure from the ziggurat. So this is dropped by an enemy that you'll encounter later in the game. But this requires a level 25 mason shield as well. So again, these abilities, they can sometimes be more powerful, as in immediately more powerful. But as I said earlier, all abilities stay sort of viable throughout the whole game. Depending on how you make your character and how you make your build.
I really like Taunt Totem. That's one of my favourites. I think everyone has their different kind of favourite abilities that go with different playstyles and different builds, but Taunt Totem, yeah, just
I can't afford
Taunts
it
the
right
enemy.
now.
No.
We can show the little video there. So
Insufficient.
you summon the little totem, and then enemies will
Yeah.
attack it instead of you.
yeah.
And you can get a temporary invisibility to be extra safe as well. So there's actually more abilities than just this in the menu, so you can see there's already a lot here. But there are some abilities you can obtain only through quest lines as quest rewards, and some of the abilities are even only obtained by doing a certain line in a quest. So you won't even get it necessarily every time. So there's a lot to explore in the game. There's multiple playthroughs sort of required to see absolutely everything that the game has to offer.
When we get to the end game stuff, we'll talk about New Game Plus and the sites and how all those work, all the end game stuff. Yeah. We'll talk to Maria, do a cartogram, people can see.
This is a very
the
long
first one.
conversation. I might go through this quickly.
We'll skip through this. Maria has plenty to say to you.
She does have a lot to say.
She's
yeah.
very busy at first, so she's finally just told you everything. So, should we have a quick update about what cartograms are?
Yeah, so this is what's actually known as a story cartogram, and cartograms are essentially the levels that you play in the game. And as you progress through the game, you will get story cartograms, which by doing them, you further the game's progress and you unlock new things, and in particular, you unlock new sort of quest stages. But in addition to that, and we get cartograms can drop from enemies, and those ones are actually randomly generated. And so what they do is that they relate to a specific area in the game, like a level that you play through, and that is can be quite significantly changed. Not in terms of its level design, that's always fixed because we have hidden items in there, we have like secret shortcuts and hidden nooks and crannies and things like that. But in terms of which enemies you face, what loot you will find, what element you'll need to have a resistance to, how many lives you get, the quality of the loot that you find can also be modified. So the cartogram, when it drops, will kind of have all this information on it, and they'll always be different from each other to some extent. So you can actually also even trade these levels that you find with other players. That's one of the really interesting features, that there are some sort of asynchronous cooperative elements to the game as well.
Had a little bug there as well.
There's a broken animation there. That's been fixed now, but
Yes.
it's in this build apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a story cartogram. So when you play the story cartogram, everything is kind of fixed. You'll fight the same enemies in the same places.
I love that, the little coup de grace.
Oh yeah,
Got him.
you can get that when you stun
It's
them.
very satisfying.
These are some of the treasures. We can sell them to an NPC we haven't talked to actually. There's an NPC who is the quartermaster in the game, Roland Yates. And when we talk to him, then
You got to focus now.
I'm going to focus on the combat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stunned. No.
Two can play at that game.
I think it'd be useful to talk about the different elements and things in the game, the status
Oh, that's
effects,
true.
etc.
Yeah. So currently, I've got this is just part of the starting background that we picked, but I have. We can look at our character sheet here. So it's going to show us all our equipment, shows us our level. Oh, should we change the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change
It's
the
good you'll
view
be on
so-
here. So pay
I know,
attention
I've
to
got
those
my little
things.
switcheroo so they can see on screen.
Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, this is our character sheet. So you've got your stats. You actually have primary stats, secondary stats, and tertiary stats. So there's a lot of stats in the game, and there's all kinds of possibilities you can do to make a build that sort of has synergy with the abilities that you're using, with the playstyle that you like, with the weapon. By the end game, you can be very, very powerful indeed. But we're just starting out. Our equipment level is only level 4. We don't have XP in the game, so the character level is determined essentially by the equipment level. That's what that is there on the right hand side. But if I just switch to the item view, then we've got a level 5 fire glaive, so it has fire attack 1 out of 5, and that means that all of our attacks will do fire damage, but they'll also do status build up, which is the burning status build up, and we have 5 different elements in the game, and all of them have an associated status effect. So for electric, you build up a shock status, and then one additional point to make on statuses is that you can even, we call them detonators. So once the status effect has been applied to a character, if you detonate it, you get an additional effect. So in the case of burning, which is what I might be able to show it off, it depends if I'm able to build it up in time, but once I've got a character burning, I can detonate that effect, and it will cause a big explosion. So that can be something that you actually make a build around when you think about the different ways that works. Should we talk about this guy?
Yeah, this is important because, this is one of our online features, so I think it's going to be interesting for people. It's a little bit different.
I'm sure we do.
How many reset charges do we
I've got
have?
6. I can give them 3.
Give them 3. Yeah, give them 3.
So what that does is potentially in another player's game, if they die, they can reach out, they can ask for help into the void, as it were. And because I've gifted those, they might get a pop-up which has my name on it and will tell them that I rescued them. So reset charges are the player's lives. So if we run out of reset charges in the cartogram, then you will actually get kicked out. You'll die.
I want to give all of mine away, and then I make it difficult for myself because I've got none for me. But it says, Sally
that would
saved
make
you.
things much harder, yeah.
Just makes it feels nice. I would do it.
Oh yeah, these guys, they drop a little bomb when they die. So you have to
Parting
watch out for that. It's called
Parting
parting gift, yeah.
That has got me one too many times. I've forgotten what I'm doing.
They do
and then,
a lot of damage.
Yeah.
You're
it's got
supposed
me.
to be paying attention to the
You
to
can't
the
just
bomb,
be casual about it, no.
Yeah, so we're just exploring inside the monolith now. So I should mention that we'll probably show some more of this later, but this is only one of the quadrants that we have in the game. So quadrants, yeah, we have 4 different biomes, although there are a few other unique levels in addition to that as well. This is the first one, so they all look quite distinct from each other. Oh, we've got a shield restore there, so I'm going to use that just to heal up a little bit before we fight these guys. I'll look around a bit more.
Got another healer, so
business.
Got another healer. Get him. So this biome is called Man and Church. Each of the biomes have different themes and different kind of story and lore behind them, and the purpose for being built, which you can find out as you play the game. What's your favourite biome?
I like Mine and Truth. It's actually it's the second one that you encounter in the main story, and it's actually the one that we made last. Just a little tip there: if you're having problems with passing gift, because these guys they drop the bomb when they die, but if you kill them while they're stunned, and they don't have a chance to drop it, so that's something you can do to avoid that. Don't know if I should show this off because maybe some players. Now let's do it. We'll get an extra tier 3 chest.
Yeah.
Well, first we can have a look in here.
They should be rewarded if they've watched the stream.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We'll say that, so you can get a little hint now. It's not in here. Later on, if we complete one of the NPC quest lines that we have, then we might find something that will actually make use of that. But for now, we'll just come through here, and we'll get a little chest here.
It's a good secret.
A little treasure.
There's loads of these throughout the game, and it's not procedural level design, it's all handcrafted. All of the levels are handcrafted, so yeah,
now we've got
there's lots of these little secrets.
Just kidding. There's another chest.
I love that one.
There we go.
We've revealed it for you now, so...
So you can probably tell that this is a slightly more impressive looking chest. So we have 3 tiers of chests in the game, and tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and the tier 3 chests were always guaranteed to drop some equipment for you. Whereas the tier 1 chests, they just tend to drop sort of consumables and modifications, which are still very useful, and they will help you build your character out. But the tier 3 chest, what did we get from it? We got ourselves a cannon. So we could use that actually in the next card. I kind of wanted to show a little bit of that gameplay off. Yeah, so the way that the levels work, essentially, they're very different in layout, but fundamentally you'll play through the level, explore it. You can explore it as much or as little as you want, really. You can rush through it if you're familiar with the layout.
Let's just pause a little bit. We've got building works. so we're fighting the boss now.
Fighting the boss, yeah. We've made it through. So like I was saying, when you'll work your way through the level, and eventually you'll find a group of enemies protecting a teleporter, and that teleporter will take you to a boss fight. I'm just going to show off that status effect and detonation I was telling you about before. So he's burning now, and while he's burning, we can use this spike ability, which will cause him to erupt and deal a lot of damage. So that's one of the most effective ways you can deal damage in our game.
It was also stunned as well, so that's good.
It was stunned as well, yes.
Yeah. If you can avoid him, he'll run into the wall and sometimes stun him.
I'm just waiting for him to get burned again.
Burn him again.
And then we can erupt him again.
Ooh.
So this is a relatively simple loop. Obviously, we're still early in the game. We're still using relatively early gear. But later in the game, you unlock all sorts of combinations and different things you can do.
Let's use a grenade on him, I think.
Let's stun him. You want to use a grenade?
Yeah.
Or shall I just erupt him and then I'll... Oh, that didn't erupt. Yeah, it only works on the hold version. You have to perfectly time that. Oh, I can just throw a grenade at him. Hopefully that hits him. It did.
Oh no, he's doing energy vomit. Run away. Run away.
I
don't want to get caught up in that.
Yeah, so if we stand in that, don't stand in the AoE.
No. That's not what you want in life. Oh, no, you're in it. Run. You're very good at the deflect.
What's that?
Good at the deflect.
Oh, I played this game a lot.
Yeah, yes. Hours and hours and hours.
We can get him again with the erupt. That's going to deal a lot of
Nice.
extra damage.
He's gone away to hide now. He's in the little cupboard.
Dodge him, bring him back out. Yeah, so that erupt effect that we were just showing there with fire, that's the unique effect of fire. So if we were using a different element, we would get a completely different effect. If you're using electric element, then it would electrocute them, so they would become immobilized for a short period, whereas this one just does a big explosion.
That's very satisfying.
It is very satisfying.
Feels very
Getting the
direct,
extra
doesn't
damage
it?
coming out, yeah.
It's time for the finale. Nearly there.
Just punch him to death.
Gone. Bye.
I'll quickly show in the character sheet here that you can always review your abilities at any time. So these are abilities that I have equipped. Oh yes, so this one will heal me every time I kill an enemy. It's just useful to have. It will keep you topped up. This is Spike. You saw me use that a lot. You can probably. It's quite straightforward, but it's very satisfying to use. Pommel Strike. This only does a bit of damage, but its unique effect is that it builds up a lot of stun. So if you want to perform that sort of finishing move that we've shown a few times, it's a good way to do that. And then Force Punch, you punch the ground. This is actually really useful because it gives you a barrier. Barriers in our game, you can see I'm standing in this little bubble, and then you've got the little bar above my health bar. That means that the barrier will take damage before my hit points actually take damage.
Just take a little pause. Okay, so here we are back at the hub. So that was the first 30-40 minutes of Imperial. So we're going to get some more end game type of gear so we can show you a bit more of what happens when you progress throughout the game. So let's do that. Okay, so we're back and we have a new save now with some end game gear. So yeah, we're going to show you some of the end game sets because they're very cool and they can do a lot of interesting things. So what's this set? What we're starting with?
Well, we're not going to start with this set, but I just thought I'd show it off at the beginning. We'll come back to this at the end. But this is called the Immortal Storm of the Empire. So in our game, the main thing that sets do is the more pieces you have equipped. So if I go into the character sheet, you can see that I've got these electrified gear on. So that means that it's all related to the set. And then if I just click on one of the items and I scroll down here, you can see that 2, 3, 4, it's got all these additional bonuses on it. And one of the things that it does is it modifies the riposte ability. So riposte normally could be performed once, but with the set you can perform it an infinite number of times. So I'm going to leave that as something of a teaser because we'll come back to it. I just wanted to show off a few additional features that we had. These are like quality of life things, and show off another set. So the first thing is we have a loadout feature. So there are 18 sets in the game at launch. And if you collect multiples of them, you will have a lot of gear to manage. So we've got this loadout feature where you can see I've kind of pre-made, this is my Immortal Storm of the Empire set. So you can name it manually, so that's not an auto name, I've just named it after the set name. And it's got all my equipment, it's got my abilities, it's got my equipped curio. And then if I switch to this one, I'm going to get a completely different setup that I'd saved in this loadout previously. So this set is one of the cool looking ones. It kind of transforms your character a little bit, and there is actually a story reason for that. A lot of the sets that we have in the game have sort of a narrative and a lore reason behind them. So in this case, if I go back to my stash and manage my loadout, it's actually the helmet that gives my character that overall effect. So we're going to use that set for a little bit. I guess we'll also be showing off some other cartograms. So we played Man and Church previously, and I think in that we talked a little bit about how there's other levels in the game. We mentioned Minor Truths, we can show that off in a moment. But I'm going to go to this one and show off one of the Depth and Silence levels. We fixed the animation bug.
Oh yeah, we fixed the animation bug finally.
Yeah, so
it wasn't in for very long,
anyone,
but it's in this video, so if you ever wondered, one day turnaround, we fixed it.
So what this ability does, what this set does, is it basically it modifies the what's an ability called Extinguish. And Extinguish puts this AoE on the ground, and then it will destroy anything that's captured inside the AoE. But the challenging part is that you have to make sure the enemies are sticking around inside it. So I'm going to try and get to this guy and see if I can put them in the AoE. Nope, he's run away.
He's run away, he knows. Is that one?
That guy's got
Whoa, he got obliterated.
So
That's so satisfying.
That's another effect in our game. This set also modifies the Chthonic Harvest ability, so you get a cool camera cut when you time it perfectly. Normally that doesn't work like that. He actually revived that guy, and now I have to kill them all again. One of my combos that I like to do is to use Feint, because the enemies will stay in place when you put the Feint down. Now these aren't going to die because they've got barriers on, which is why I really need to get rid of this guy. He's running away from me.
He's trying
I'm
to
gonna
save
stand in
his
this bubble
chums. He
and get
don't,
some
you know.
extra damage. It's just
He's trying to save his chums. Oh no.
so we killed him, and then we'll try and get this guy to stand in the AoE, and we'll get him to attack our clone,
And he just gets
then
obliterated. Wow. I think that's why it's good to consider your combinations of abilities and not just pick individually. Like some of them can be used in combination with each other.
Yeah, the feint that I'm using there isn't actually modified by this set. There's actually another set that modifies feint, and that will cause the clone to explode. But so even though it's not part of the set, I kind of had to think about what synergies still could apply. So I'm using these guys together. You can see with this set, I don't really do a ton of damage with sort of my normal abilities. So this is why I need to focus on getting this AoE down, which will end up. But the AoE won't.
You have to focus now.
Yeah, I have to get rid of barrier before the AoE will actually be able to kill them. So. Oh.
We've got a different enemy type there, so do you want to talk a little bit about the various
that's a really good
enemy
point.
types in the game?
Yeah. So this guy is called the Paladin. You could probably just saw it there. He heals people up, and he just revived the people that I killed. But now I've got them in the AoE. That destroys him. Something that is something of a quality of life, I guess, and you may have even kind of half noticed it there, is that I killed the two enemies. Then the Paladin, which was the big fat guy, he revived them. But when I killed him, the characters that he revived actually immediately died. So that's just something you can think about. If you're in combat, you can focus on the enemy that's either summoned enemies or revived them, and they're kind of linked to that guy. And so if you can take him out, then you'll be all right.
I think you do have to plan which enemies you approach when there is a group. I think that's very important. Especially when there's healers and that type of thing.
So one thing I'll try and show here is an ultimate ability. So when we were in the early game, we had actually played before I'd unlocked any ultimate abilities. But when you have an ultimate ability, you get this cool camera cut. And then the effect of this one is it empowers your focus to deal these punches. And sometimes the punches can obliterate. So I thought it wouldn't happen there. That was the last one, I think. You get a limited number of punches. Yeah.
A good finale, just by chance. That was good.
I was like, something else I should mention actually is because we spent a bit of time setting these characters up, and this is just going into more detail about all the possibilities that there are in the game. Oh, thank you. We can look at our tertiary stats, which if you've been watching the video throughout, you'll remember that we had, I think, one tertiary stat on the early game character. Now we've got a lot more because we're a lot higher level. We've got all this cool gear. And the penultimate stat on this list is called Obliterate Bonus. So throughout this level, you've been seeing me obliterate characters, and that is not guaranteed. So there is actually usually quite a small chance, because you're basically just killing them outright. It does how much their exact health is taken. But if you can build your character in a certain way, focus on Obliterate Bonus, then you have a chance to do it. So what I'm going to do now is, it may look a little bit odd because I'm on the boss, and bosses have a higher obliteration resistance. But what I have, and this is just showing off another feature of the game, in the game, the primary reward that you get for completing an NPC questline is a passive ability. And you can press the key binding here, which is covered up, but you can bring up the passive ability menu here. And one of the passive abilities I've got is from finishing one of the NPC quest lines. And this will give me a bonus obliteration chance, but it's proportional to shields lost. So this is a high risk, high reward type. You'll get an extra chance to destroy an enemy outright, but I need to take damage first. This is the boss intro cutscene. So whenever you fight a boss for the very first time, you'll have this intro cutscene that plays, which is unique for every single boss enemy type that we have. And it's actually the Paladin. Again, we talked about him earlier. It's the big fat guy. So he's there to sort of protect his allies, revive his allies, and he does that even in the cutscene here.
I like that we've got the official intro to him now.
Yeah. So we're in the fight now. One thing you may have noticed is that this boss is actually cryo-imbued. So he's actually summoning...
Hot focus, very hard.
Now, that should kill him.
Did?
In one hit.
Oh my god, run! There's a party gift!
So,
wow.
Yeah.
We did it.
So, in our game, this kind of thing is possible, but I do want to highlight that it can be a very risky way to play, and also it does require sort of a lot of endgame setup. So in this case, on my character, I've got the obliteration bonus stats, which we showed earlier. I've also got, where is it, tertiary stats? Yeah, so we showed that earlier. I've also got this passive ability, which gives me a big bonus to my obliteration resistance with my shields being very low. I also, and the set, what this set does with the extinguish ability, which you just put down as AoE, and then the character stands in it. Or do you want to say something funny?
What you? No!
If you stand in it, it'll also damage you. So the reason I didn't die actually is because of a mechanic that we have in the game called Steadfast, which is actually a death resist. So that red bar, if you take damage while your health is still above that line, that is enough to take it all the way to 0, then you actually can resist death. And actually that has a bunch of other additional effects which trigger as a result of that.
Wait, can we throw something into the ether?
Oh yes, of course. So did I pick up all the loot? Why did we pick it up? Do you want to talk about Into the Ether then?
Yeah, so Into the Ether, I really like this as a concept, but basically there's an ether tear here and you can throw a gift into the ether. So it will take a piece of equipment from your inventory and basically, throw it into the void. And it might appear in another player's game with some additional stats on it, because the game will be ether touched. So you don't get any reward for doing that, except feeling like a nice person, which is why I do it every time. So yeah, I'm really interested to see if the community actually does that, because if you do that, then there's going to be loads of cool gear in the ether for everybody to get. So I hope players will do that and then help each other out. Okay, so we're back in the hub now, and we were going to show off some more sets. So let's have a look and see what we've got in our armory.
Yeah, so I set these up earlier. Mostly we just kind of want to show some more variety in the game. Once you get a chance to play yourselves, there's 18 sets in the game, so there's tons of different ways to play and ways to look. And once you've played around with abilities, you'll see how those abilities get modified by the sets. But we've just picked out, this is one of your favourites, I think.
Yeah, because it's very Monster Hunter-y.
Oh, it is,
which
definitely.
I like.
Yeah.
Because it's based on enemy parts.
Actually, there's a guy right here, I think. This is quite,
Yeah, he's just hanging out
on
the
wall.
And the wall of the pub.
And I think if you've been watching the footage, obviously a lot of the enemies, they have this orb inside them, and so that's kind of reflected with this design as well. So this is made out of enemy parts. That was the inspiration for.
We're about to fight him as well, so we're going to go to the training area. So this is a place where you can practice your abilities and you can try out the different weapons. So that unlocks fairly early on in the game. We want people to have a good space to try everything out. So
this is a secret entrance to the training area, by the way. It saves you about 10 seconds going from the normal one. But if you know, you know. So
now
I just did that on autopilot. I always use this way.
Use the secret route.
So this is the training area. So we've got a big space here. You can spawn enemies from over there, and we'll show that in a second. But you've got your controls over there as well, which you can have permanently displayed if you need a reminder while you're practicing, or you can hide them. If
you shouldn't need a reminder by now.
I think I'll be fine without it.
Yeah, I would hope so.
One of the things I wanted to show, and this is another reason why I picked this set, apart from it just looking really good, is that this set provides you some buffs and debuffs. So when I play RPGs, one of the things I've always been frustrated with is when a game doesn't really explain to you what's affecting your character. So we added a feature here where you can actually see, if you want to switch you've got the active effects down the bottom, so they're just about covered up. But if I press that input, then I can bring up a whole menu and it will explain to me all the things that are affecting my character, both buffs and debuffs. It will also tell me how much time is remaining. These are infinite because they're provided by the set, but if I was using a consumable, it would be, I can even show that. So I can quickly do that. And then we can see that I've even got healing. That's got 58.7 seconds remaining, and it tells you where their source is. So this is my enrage ability, which is from the set, and it's providing these buffs and this debuff. And the shield restore is the consumable that I just used. So you get that information as well, which I think is really helpful. So one of the things I wanted to show with this, so we're going to spawn this guy. This is the guy that we were using a lot of his the pieces of him in our armor.
Maybe that makes him more mad.
Maybe.
No, it doesn't.
What I want to show here, and the reason I'm taking a bit of damage, is just to show one of our status effects. So we talked before about fire, and we talked a little bit about electric, but this is a status effect called disrupted. And it will be breached, which actually heals you. So he's actually doing it to me now. And that will prevent all healing. But if you do it to an enemy and then you detonate it, again, we talked earlier about how all the status effects in our game, you can build them up and they provide a passive effect or an effect on the enemy, but then you can detonate them with certain abilities. So I actually have 2 abilities that can detonate. I have my javelin ability as well as my spike, so we can just hit them like that and then heal up again.
Turn to dust.
We'll just show one more set, and the reason I wanted to show this one, this is the one that we actually I think started with, but we didn't show what it did. This is called the Immortal Storm of the Empire. So sometimes the sets will kind of heavily encourage a certain element to be used. In this case, this set provides a bonus to electric damage. The whole theme of the set is electric. But what's really interesting about this set is it changes how a specific ability is used in terms of its inputs. So that's why I wanted to highlight it. It's not just a stat change. We do have sets that provide stat changes, but there's also sets which will really change how you play. So I'll just switch to another set really quickly. I'll go back to that previous one, but I'll equip the riposte ability. So this riposte ability is how it is normally. It's unmodified, if you like, and you'll see that it's pretty good. It will do a lot of damage, but when I do this and then you deflect an enemy's attack, and then you do a follow-up attack, and that will corkscrew you through the enemy and deal good damage. But when I have the set equipped, the set that modifies riposte, and I'll just show that again in a moment, just grab that, and then in the manage loadout, you can see that it says ability modify riposte. And what that's going to do is it's going to let me do that follow-up input basically an infinite number of times. But the timing gets harder every time you successfully do it. So we'll see how many I can get.
Yeah, let's see if we can go for a record.
Yeah, well, the record is 26 in the office, so I don't think we're going to get that.
No.
But this is something that you can maybe try yourself, see how many you can do. So we'll do this.
Should I be counting?
Oh, we
How
almost
many was
got
that? 13?
That's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Not quite 26.
Not quite
still.
26. But
Well, I wonder what the
tricky.
players. I wonder
Yeah.
what players will be able to do. I wonder what the record will
I'm
be.
sure that the record will eventually belong to somebody.
Yeah.
But
They'll
we'll
just
do our
stream for an
best. Yeah. So that's just another thing we wanted to show. It's really interesting how some of the sets, they don't just modify stats and things like that. They actually modify the inputs that you'll do, and even give you like little mini games, little challenges like that, where how many times can I chain it together? I was hoping to kill him in one sequence, but we almost got him, so
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that was good.
So this is the normal way in and out of the training area. We went the shortcut, but I'll just show this off so you get a nice view of the hub, and yeah, coming in and out. And I think just to wrap things up and do a little outro, I think we'll go over and stand by the ziggurat itself.
One last look at the zig.
Yeah, we call it the zig. That's what the affectionate name for it. The characters in the game, they call it different things. They call it the monolith. They call it the ziggurat. I think John once refers to it as an ugly cube.
Yeah.
He's a bit scared about
Big
what's
old
happening.
cube.
Yeah, he's a bit worried about what it all really means. But here we are.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, thanks so much for watching the stream. We hope you enjoyed it and you got a lot of information about the game. Obviously, if you're interested, please wishlist the game on Steam. And also, we have a Discord as well. We are a very small dev team, so we're there every day. If you have questions about the game or if there's anything you want to know, we always answer very quickly to any of the players that have questions. So you'd be very, very welcome indeed. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the stream. And yeah, hope to see you in the Discord. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.